Were we talking about the wrestling?
Speaking of playing dead, we were talking about Smackdown.
Oh, yeah. Well, what else was on there? I'll tell you what, a Bray Wyatt. Okay. All right, let me get it over with now. You were correct. He's going to work with himself, isn't he? He is going to have a program, a feud, an angle, a rivalry, a mishigosh, a mashup, a hayrube. He's going to have a Donnybrook, a stem winder, a Pier 6 brawl. He's going to have it with himself, isn't he?
Well, if anyone's going to do it, why not them?
So Bray Wyatt comes out and gets in the ring. And again, like I praised him, and I've been trying to praise him, the laugh, the tone, the voice, the delivery. This guy could be one of the most believable wrestlers in the business. He could talk you into something, and part of it is just waiting forever to try to understand what point he's making, but you can take the ride with him because it's a colorful way of speaking. And he comes out and he says, this is me, the real me, no mask, no smoke and mirrors, just me and you. It's the real man, Bray Wyatt. And I'm the best version of him. I'm going to do spectacular things while I'm here. Because, I've often, in my life, I've often been out of control and I go to a dark place. I'm waiting for him to say something, not to say he's saying plenty. I'm waiting to understand what he's saying or what point that he's eventually going to make. And he never actually gets there, but I love listening to it. Because you think it's building to something. You see, you understand what I'm saying. There's a lot of anticipation here. I mean, ever come out and say it, man, just say it. But it's a great delivery, and he could be one of the most believable people, like Blackjack Mulligan was as a promo when, and let's face it, I mean, he was so big, and for a massive man like that, his work was good, but he wasn't like Ricky Steamboat, right? But he could talk. He could talk you in. He built his cast of characters in Eagle Pass, Texas, and he drew the people into what he was saying. Well, this guy could do the same thing, but it appears that he doesn't want to be the most believable guy. He wants to be the most unbelievable, the most spookiest. Take the Undertaker and Kane and wrap them up times 10 with Papa Shango as a fucking chaser. And as he's doing this promo and he's saying he's done horrible things, a part of him is not afraid to do that. But there'll come another time when someone will ask me to do something horrible. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the video pops up. And it's a guy, someone in a spooky mask with quick cuts and darkness and effects, video effects all over it, doing a promo about mask wearing and the mask you're wearing. And I don't know what the fuck is going on now. I can't understand half of it, but it's spooky. And finally, he reveals himself as Uncle Howdy. And it looks like, as I think a number of people have pointed out, a mask. If Barry Windham was a zombie, this is what the mask that Uncle Howdy wears would look. And it just so happens that fucking Barry Windham is his uncle.
Does that make him Boy Howdy?
It maybe makes him Boy Howdy. All these. Yeah, you know what? That's what I said. Boy Howdy so many times. I finally conjured up Bray Wyatt. So I'm not saying that I'm trying to pitch the idea that Barry Windham is coming in to work with Bray Wyatt. I'm saying it's his fam. It's another personality somehow of himself and with his convoluted family dark thoughts in his brain that makes him do horrible things or whatever, but goddamn, I don't know what to think about all this. But I actually think, and that's been people have been tweeting us and people have been emailing me, and they've been saying, you're going to have to say Brian was right. He's about to work a program with himself. And I think you're right. I think he's about to work a program with himself. I mean, the promo in the ring versus the guy on the screen might work, but when they actually have to have a match, how are they going to figure that out?
Unless Uncle Howdy, you said it looked like Barry Windham, a zombie Barry Windham. It looked like someone cut the skin off Barry Windham's face.
Hey!
And just like put it on like a creepy mask, and somehow he also has a production team, this creepy man, and he submitted this 2-inch reel or whatever he submitted to the studio. I'm not surprised. This is what I thought. I mean, this may be one of those guys where Vince wasn't the problem.
He got blamed for more than he was actually guilty of.
The promos in the fucking dark in the ring, just so people can fucking turn their phones on to pretend that they're lighters. Because if you fucking took a lighter out, they'd probably tackle you now in a fucking building.
Well, wait a minute. There's no smoking in the arenas, but there can't be any lighting?
I don't think so. I think you're prohibited from igniting any sort of fuse in a lot of these buildings.
I don't know. Every time I went to a big show in the WWF, my fucking fuse got ignited as soon as I got in the building.
So the other options are that Uncle Howdy, who has somehow been referenced by Bray Wyatt right away and is involved in this mystical feud. It could be Bray Wyatt's brother. We heard that Bo Dallas or Bo Rotunda, whatever his name is, may be coming back. We heard that there are other people they want involved in this potential Wyatt faction that people are talking about. We don't know. So it may not be him versus himself, although if anyone could do it, like I said.
Well, but now here's the thing. Are they going to bring Bo? Bo knows. Who knows Bo? Are they going to bring him in? But Bray is going to claim that this person wearing this Captain Howdy mask. I'm sorry, I'm going back to William Peter Blatty now. The Uncle Howdy mask is really him. And then we don't know that it's supposed to be Bo Rotunda, Bo Dallas.
You know what?
Oh my God.
One of the worst days in wrestling history, no one really knew about until recently. It was whenever Mike Rotunda took his kids to see The Ring in theaters. Because that's all this is. That's the other thing. People are like, oh, it's so amazing, it's so creative. No, it looks like this guy saw The Ring many years ago, starring Naomi Watts, or perhaps the Japanese version of the film, and it's just doing that on WWE TV for no reason. This is terrible. I told you, he says nothing. You're like, he's so convincing. He is convincing because he's like, and I told everyone I was in the bed. You're like, oh, wow, he's really convinced of what he's saying. And then you're like, he's not really saying anything. And then he gets interrupted by Uncle Howdy.
Yep, see, you slipped in there. I told you. Because you're a motherfucker that's been waiting to say I told you so.
Because you were giving this guy credit for like, maybe he'll come back and, work a match in the light. I mean, work a match in the light? Have we seen this guy in the light in years?
Don't walk into the light. He's got promo talent. He's got that. That could be channeled into something good for humanity.
He has promo talent. Could he do, you have 90 seconds, you're going to wrestle this guy on the premium live event, just say what you're going to do to him.
Yeah, that may be a problem now that I'm looking at it.
It's like Thunderbolt Patterson. He never says anything. You believe him, but he says nothing.
If you move. If I only had time.
Well, Bray Wyatt's been getting a lot of time and apparently selling a lot of merch. I'm sure these creepy Uncle Howdy masks will fly off the shelves